Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. So this is my Formations Tactica version 1.1. I need to to correct an error that I made in my original Tactica. So the rules say that you cannot remove models from combat, and I never thought that applied to rank and file models. I interpreted that as meaning you could not reduce the number of models in combat, but I didn't read it as you couldn't remove models from combat unless it was a character, maybe a champion or something. And after some user comments and reading it and thinking about it and talking about it, I'm changing my mind on that interpretation. It seems to me that that we can't remove any models from combat. So I think I used to think about it in terms of if somebody charged me in the flank and I could reform to face them, then the models along the side of my unit that had been charged were now out of combat when I turned to face the unit. And I think it makes more sense to say, no, they're still in combat, they simply turned and the rest of the unit reformed around them. So in this picture, if you're the Beastman player, I think this is a very legal reform. As long as the champion, who's in the front row left, as long as he stayed in combat, if he moved over to stay in combat with the men-at-arms. But otherwise, the Beastman player can do this because, in essence, the models in combat with the men-at-arms stay there, and everybody else just reforms around them, and that would be perfectly legal. However, if you're the men-at-arms, the Bretonnian player, you can't slide in this way because in so doing, you remove models from combat, specifically those models with the black arrows pointing to them. So that is a very important distinction and clarification I need to make. That being said, if you want to influence the direction of flight as the men-at-arms player, the Bretonnian player, then I would say instead of sliding, you could still reform to something closer to a horde formation, except there's nothing sacred about 10. You could go as wide as you needed to within the limitation of not moving any single model more than 8 inches. And you could extend past the Gore unit on the right, moving your center wherever it needed to be to get the angle you wanted. So it would not be as good as sliding over, but at least it would be legal to do it that way. Similarly, in number 8, that's just completely wrong. I said you could slide the men-at-arms over to contact the battle standard bearer, and now I'm saying no, you can't because you would be removing models from combat. And then number 13, I said you could reform if you needed to realign your characters. And the way I showed it would be incorrect because, again, you're removing a model from combat. If you look at the right-hand picture, the model with the white arrow pointing at it. You could still do the same thing, though, if you just went 4 or 5 wide instead of 3 wide. If you went 4 wide, you would still keep all the enemy models in combat. You just basically extended one to the right and moved your BSB around and got them where you needed them. That, of course, be problematic because with Bretonnian, once you go to 4 wide, you're no longer in lance formation and don't have ranks, so you could go 5 wide or whatever. The other situation I described, this one still would be legal because, again, we're not removing models from combat. We're just shifting our champion and our battle standard bearer to different positions. So I hope that's correct, and if I find any other mistakes I made, then I will upload even further clarifications. But yeah, the main thing here that I needed to correct was that when we say we can't remove models from combat, that does not apply simply to champions or command group or characters, that it means even rank and file models. So I hope that helps.